All right, what is going on, everyone, and welcome back to more Black Desert. My name is John, and today I wanted to talk about 10 tips for new players. The reason why we're bringing this up is because, one, I did this a long time ago, and I thought it would be good to update it, and two, apparently a lot of new players are starting this game and or returning. I've seen a lot of videos from bigger content creators covering, like, what's new and everything, so we saw a lot of people coming back, along with like the new season servers and everything. The new character or realms are super crowded, which I thought was a good thing for the game. So I wanted to talk to you guys about 10 things that you guys should do early on as new players, along with some helpful tips from me, because I've been playing this game for 7 years, I guess, since the beta, and apparently people say you need like a 4-year degree to play this game, which I don't think it's super true, but I mean, there's a lot of stuff that's not super intuitive, and you just kind of learn over time by playing the game. But anyway, before we start, I just want to say that we have a code for people who are new to the game, thinking about buying either ACoins, which are pearls, the currency in this game, or the package, which is like buying the game, the Conqueror Edition, the normal thing. So if you're interested in that, use code Jonlaw, and you can enjoy it as well. So yeah, basically all these things, if you're interested, now is a good time because things are on sale and you get super big discounts on everything, and I thought it would be pretty cool. So anyway, with that said, 10 things I would recommend as a new player to you guys. Number one being seasons, and if you are a new player, I would definitely recommend starting on a season server. It's kind of like in all the other games where you start a new character and you progress to catch up to end game players and everything, but it's a little bit easier because it basically gives you seasonal gear, which is easier to enhance, which we'll talk about later, and along with it guides you through with a like season pass, which will be at the top if you are on a season character, and basically it allows you to get caught up a lot faster, pretty standard, and yeah, good to start. We also have more videos on what to do specifically during the season if you get stuck, but I'll leave a link in the description to that as well. And next thing I want to talk about is joining guilds. Now, I understand that this game is mostly solo, and there are like some group stuff, but for the most part, you're going to be playing this game solo. But there are reasons to be in a guild in this game, aside from the whole social aspect, which I think is good. So you actually get buffs and like actual stat bonuses for being in the guild. So I can show you right now this page right here. Basically, if you're in a guild and your guild has all these buffs, it's just passive that you just get over time. And it's just something to be mindful of if you are playing the game, because just not having it versus having it, it doesn't really make a huge difference, but it is just extra stats, which are always good. And of course, whether you're a grinder, life skiller, PvPer, there are all these buffs that you can get as well, like extra combat XP, life XP, and all these additional stuff that you can get as well. So I understand it's an MMO. Going for the social aspect, there's always guilds for everything, whether you do anything competitive or not. It's definitely worth just joining a guild just for the buffs and just to meet new people. It's, you know, it's an MMO. Next thing we're going to talk about is having multiple characters. Now, I know this is a hot topic because, you know, like myself, when I start a new MMO, I'm always thinking I just want to play one character and then be the best that I can be on one. So even if you don't play multiple characters, there are reasons to have them, even, you know, if you don't play them. So one of the reasons is having the extra characters for energy and enhancing, which we'll talk about later, and also leaving your characters at different locations like bosses, so you don't have to drag your main there every time. So first of all, over here you see there's a thing called energy. You use your energy for a lot of life skilling and or just like building amity for various reasons, or quest knowledge. So every character has a different like energy pool, so you have a total for all your characters, right? And then your energy is over here, and then you can use it per character. And so having multiple characters, aside from just, you know, playing it to play it, there you can use it for all the stuff as I mentioned before. Basically, you turn energy into silver in one way or the other, and just having it would be considered passive energy. And for fail stacks, which is the enhancement thing that we'll talk about, it's a very like annoying process to talk about. Overall, there's a item in the cash shop which you basically purchase with real money that allows you to enhance or hold your fail stacks on your one character. It's called a Nadar's Band. But if you don't want to pay, just having multiple characters will allow you to do this for free. Basically, you just swap characters instead of holding the different button. It's an alternative, which I think is definitely something most people should do, because chances are if you have maxed out fail stacks on your characters, you're doing something wrong or you're just very unlucky. So either way, it's free. And the main important reason, aside from number one being you just want to play all the characters to try them out, is I have all my characters, or for the most part, most of them at different spots in the game. And the reasoning why is in MMOs, usually there's world bosses and everything like on the map. And having to transport your character from boss to boss every now and then kind of gets tedious after a while. So you just leave your extra boss alts at, well, bosses or characters there. So you don't have to. All you have to do is swap, and you don't have to drag them everywhere. It's pretty nice. So next thing we have is actually using your energy and contribution points. So energy is gained by just playing the game. You hit your journal right here, which is the H button on PC. I don't know what it is on console, unfortunately. But basically, you just do everything in your journal logs, and it tells you what to do: kill enemies, get knowledge, get energy, questing, everything, talk to NPCs. And your energy pool goes up when you do those things. And as I mentioned before, energy is basically money in one way or the other, whether you life skill and gather and then sell the products on the market, or you just somehow sell the energy by potions and whatnot. It's always good to make sure your energy isn't maxed out, and that way you're just not letting money expire, essentially. And yeah, and then contribution points over here is basically by doing quests and or activities where your contribution points go up, and various life skills that you get byproducts and turn it in. So basically, contribution points allow you to set up your entire workers and nodes thing, and I want to talk about that a little bit later, but it's mostly just when you pick up a node in this game. So you see all these things on the map. Let me make it a little bit easier to see. These things are called nodes, right? And you connect them from a town. So you see all these lines. That's how you know that they are going from one point to another. You start at a town and then just connect them through your contribution points. And what do they do? You see like these circles with a little timer work like a pickaxe icon, right? So when you connect them, they have like sub nodes on it where you can get byproducts off of it. And you get workers in town, and then you send your workers onto the nodes, and over time they just bring it back to the town that they were sent to. So that way you can see a lot of extra nodes over there, and they just bring back materials over time. And basically that's free money. So make sure to set it up early on instead of later, because I remember when I first started the game, I didn't really know how the node system worked, so I just kind of had contribution points lined up. This number over here is how many you have available, like the 0 out of 428, and then the 428 is the total, like the pool that I have. So basically this number you want to have as low as possible. You always want your contributions to be used on something, and whether that's a house, whether you're a PvPer or not, it doesn't matter. Get the nodes where you think you need the materials from. So if you're a life skiller and you like cooking, get the nodes that will be your bottleneck for whatever kind of craft you're making. And if you are a role player or something like that, you can get a house and decorate it as well. And there's always uses aside from RP for housing, because you need to actually cook and or alchemy. You need the cooking stations, and you put them in your house, and then you do that. So there's a lot of uses, but a lot of times they just give a lot of random stuff throughout events, and you're just like, here, have some house furnishings. I'm like, okay, I guess I'll put it in my house and I'll never see it again. So that's about it. But yeah, make sure to use your energy and contribution points at all times, or at least try to make sure they're not like just sitting there wasted. And the next thing I want to talk about is a little bit more of a not just BDO exclusive thing, but don't compare yourself to other players in this game, because unlike traditional MMOs where the goal is to get max level, get the best gear, this one is a sandbox where it's a little bit slower and your gear actually feels like you earned it or it means something. And I remember when I first started this game, I was like, okay, I started this game with one of my friends. Our goal was to see who can get the best gear and just do the best overall. And over time, you learn that because you can't just raid and get carried through all your gear, you actually have to earn it, whether that's buying it, saving up silver, or enhancing it, which is basically the enhance system or enchant system in other games. So you make your own gear or you buy it. Very standard. And unlike other games, this one, when you get gear, you just feel like you earned it one way or the other. So don't compare yourself to other people, because when you do that, all it takes is for one person to hit an enhance and they're suddenly like a few weeks ahead in progress. So just play at your own pace. That's my biggest tip I can give to people. And just do what you enjoy doing. If you like following the meta and re-rolling all the time, that's cool. But usually I've seen a lot of people do that and then they get burnt out of the game because they don't like the class, even though it's the best. So yeah, I just tend to stick to like one character that I really like. They made it easier through time by this tag system, right? And so basically it allows you to use your main gear that you've gotten and then tag it to another character, and basically allows you to just copy it over without having to remake everything over. And it's a lot cheaper in terms of like in-game currency. So it's definitely, if you like re-rolling, something to think about. And yeah, just play at your own pace. That's my biggest tip. Next thing I would recommend for new players is the Jetina and Magnus quest line. Now, basically, this is guaranteed progression. So, as you know, in this game, enhancing and gear tier levels go from Pri, Duo, Tri, Tet, and Pen. And that's like 1 line, 2 line, 3 lines, Roman numeral 4, and then 5, kind of like this, the V on the gear. And essentially, you can get guaranteed stuff by doing questing, which is a lot easier and slightly cheaper than making it yourself. So definitely do that for guaranteed progression. It's a lot faster as well and a little bit less effort. So getting caught up to endgame players these days is a lot easier than it used to be, which I think is an overall good thing. I know in a lot of MMOs, people are mad that they give catch-up mechanics in game, and the way I see it is if your MMO is dead, your gear is irrelevant. So I think catch-up mechanics and free handouts to an extent are good for the game, or just overall. And so I think those are definitely good things to introduce. So I have videos as well. I'll leave in the description to Jetinas and Magnus, so you guys can figure out how to do it. And my videos that are different from others is other videos just tell you what to do and not really too much detail. What I did in my Jetina video was basically show you from start to finish how to do it. I tell you what kind of materials you need, how to get them. We do it in live time just so you can exactly 1-for-1 copy if you wanted to. And so that's just, mine is a little bit more detailed in my opinion. That's just me, but if you are interested, I'll leave it in the description to catch up. The next thing we're going to talk about is learning the market. I guess this goes for like pretty much every MMO or just RPG that has a marketplace system in the game. And as we all know, the market is called the central market in this game. And basically, the alternative to making your own gear yourself is buying it. And I would say over the years of playing this game, back in the day, it was very hard to get best in slot gear. Nowadays, you can just buy it. Obviously, I think that it is universally better to just buy your gear because you skip the whole RNG process. But some people like having their name on their gear, which I completely understand, and they have to make it themselves. So I would say unless you are in the top like 5% gaming and you're like the competitive PvP scene, chances are all the gear you can get from like mid to even end game, like for example the best in slot weapons, you can still buy it. They have like orders just sitting there in the market. It's just kind of expensive and time consuming. However, you can just buy it, which I would most of the time recommend. I have a series that we do every month called Window Shopping, and we look at the trends of the prices of various relevant items for mid to end game players. And so you can see if it's going up or down. Is it worth buying or making yourself? 99% of the time, just buying it is the way to go, but chances are there are some items that we talk about that are worth making yourself instead of buying it. So we have that series on the channel as well. It's called Window Shopping if you're curious. I'll leave a link to this month's July version in the description as well. So learning the market, learning trends of price differences. Let's take a random weapon, for example. I don't know. Let's look at this, for example. You can see a curve from 1 to 3 months and see how prices adjust over like the weeks and stuff. So I go over that in a lot of detail, just learning the market, whether this is a event or there's an event going on or there's you're just learning, is definitely something that is very important in the game, especially if you're trying to make some silver. And yeah, that video teaches you everything. We do it for you. Next thing we want to talk about is grinding optimally. So this more goes for the PvE side. And in this game, there's 2 routes you can go. Well, technically you can do both of them, but there's grinding, which is like killing the enemies and then getting silver and rare drops, and then there's life skilling. So we're going to talk about the grinding part of it. So in this game, it's kind of simple, easy to learn, but hard to master, in my opinion. And the way I talk about this is there's a lot of grind spots in this game, whether you're a beginner or you're an endgame player. So you just look at all of these. It's the Monster Zone info tab, and then you look at the recommendations for the AP and DP. We talked about this in one of our previous videos, where I look at all the AP and DPs that the game recommends, and do I think it's pretty accurate? And yeah, I think about 99% of them, the recommendations that the game officially gives, are pretty accurate. And so the 1% that I think are like a little bit sketch are usually in the upper 1%, like the best in slot, hardest grind spots. And those are more just knowing the mechanics and having gear. Like obviously gear matters, but it's more, do you know how to not get hit? Do you know the mechanics and then don't die? So yeah, overall look at that. And one thing I would recommend to people is definitely using buffs. Now I understand this is something that it's really simple to understand. It's like, oh, okay, you use this food because it gives extra stats. But then if you are just casually grinding, you can use like a few different things like food, an elixir, and then your alchemy stone, and then that's generally the way to go. And then extra XP buffs, which are, you know, optional. But then if you are an endgame min-maxer, there's a thing called elixir rotations. So for most people, you won't ever have to worry about this, because using a draft is generally a mix of stats that are just good for most people. Now, if you are interested in the whole endgame part of the thing and you enjoy min-maxing all your stats, there's a lot of potions in this game. It's kind of like World of Warcraft in a way. I remember more or less doing this, and overall elixir rotations are technically better than using the drafts, but it's a lot more time consuming to get, and you kind of have to have already done some life skills in the past. Like for example, alchemy, you make a lot of your elixirs or potions yourself, and then that's kind of how you know what you were using. So it's kind of, elixirs are more for endgame PvP and high-end grind spots. But I guess as a new player, all you need to really worry about is, do you have a food buff on? You can buy this off the market, super easy. Do you have a draft on? and then you can buy that off the market very easily as well. So it's really all you have to worry about. Every now and then decide if you want a tent buff or anything. But we have another video, once again, of how you should grind optimally if you want to watch that. There's probably going to just be a ton of videos in the description. Just if I talked about something and it's interesting to you, try to find it in the description below. And if not, then feel free to just ask in the comments. I'll do my best to just send you a link or something, or join the Discord. I have a guide list for everything. So next thing we have on our list is workers and nodes. So we talked about this a little bit earlier in this video. So workers and nodes. We talked about the nodes part where you send off workers and everything else and they bring back materials, passive money over time, always good. Let's talk about the workers part of the game. So over here is all your workers, right? In every town, you can buy them from like an NPC. And basically, you get the workers and you send them on the nodes. This is different from the nodes itself. Let's start over. These are nodes. You invest your contribution points into the nodes, and then you hire workers, and then you send the workers to go on the nodes, and then they bring back materials. And all of this is basically using your contribution points. Very easy. And make sure to do that early on instead of later, just because you want to have your node and worker empire started early and just make money over time, whether you're doing something or not. They just bring back materials which you can sell on the market and or use them. So just having extra income daily is always nice. And now for our last topic, I wanted to talk about enhancing versus buying your gear. Oh boy, where do I start? So in every RPG game, there's gear. Very traditional. And over time, you upgrade your gear. Very standard. So the difference between all of this is there's a thing that you talk to your Black Spirit and you have an enhancement window. The way it works, I'm going to make sure to try to explain this as quickly and more in detail as I can, while not overwhelming people. So, let's say you put an item in here. You use a material called a blackstone or a concentrated blackstone. There's a lot of dumb materials in this game that's like, you have to upgrade this item with this material, and you kind of just like have to learn what the materials are. So, over time, you learn all of this, and there's a thing called enhancement chance, right? So the higher your enhancement chance is, the higher the percentage that the item will be. Let me see if I can use an example. Okay, let's just take this out, for example. Let's use this. Okay, so let's say we want to enhance our Jetina soul. It's a 7% base chance, and we have a 0 stack. This is the material that you use. And let's say we have a 20 stack. Suddenly, if you have a 20 stack, your enhancement chance goes up. And generally, the higher the enhancement chance, the higher the success rate. To get the enhancement, you have to fail items, which is really dumb, and it is what it is. But basically, if you fail random items, then you build a fail stack. Then the higher your fail stack, you use it on the item you want to upgrade. So the chances of success is higher. It's really dumb. I understand. And that's the way it is in a nutshell. These are things called cron stones, which prevent you from downgrading your gear. Well, for non-accessory type items, if you enhance accessories and you fail it, it just blows up. It's gone forever. When it comes to gear, like armors and weapons, it just downgrades if failed. So cron stones prevent you from downgrading that part. And chances are, if you are a new player enhancing, you might get tilted. I have definitely gotten tilted enhancing. And so you're probably like, should I use it? Chances are the answer is no, unless you're enhancing very end game items, like, and especially if you're going for a pen of a certain type. And so generally, building fail stacks is a blessing in disguise. I know I hate saying that as well, but that's the way it works. You want to build it higher than enhance the item that you want, and save your cron stones for high tier endgame items. You'll thank me later, whether you believe that now or not. So yeah, there's a thing called Valks as well, which allows you to get an additional up to 13 as of now. And basically that just stacks on stacks on stacks. And then right now you'll see that I have a 23 chance, or like a 21. Where's this 23 coming from? So basically there's this thing, a quest line that you do in your adventure journal. It goes up from 0 to 5, and I don't remember where it is, but it's one of these books. You just click it and you figure it out. One of these. And basically if you do a certain number of quests in the game, it'll permanently increase your failed stack chance. So is it worth it? Yeah, technically if you enhance a lot, then yes. But otherwise it doesn't actually matter. Like I have a 2 stack out of 5 because I can't be bothered questing, doing like 30,000 quests in this game. And I still have pretty decent gear. So overall, should you enhance or should you buy? 99% of the time I would say just buy your gear, because you skip the whole entire RNG process. However, once you get to like the top, I don't know, 5-10% of the game, then there are items that you have to make yourself because they're super rare and you can't actually get it off the market super easily. So that's where you have to craft it yourself. And chances are by the time you get to that point, you don't need my help because you already should know. And yeah, so that's the 10 tips I want to give to you guys today. I have a lot more, but I thought these are the 10 most relevant ones in my opinion. And so if you're new to the channel, I would love to see you guys come back. Hit that subscribe button. If you have any questions, which I assume that if you're a new player, you probably have a bunch of questions, leave it in the comments or join the Discord. Links in the description below to everything. And I'm happy to help new players out. I've been playing this game for 7 years, and I had to learn everything from the start because there were no guides when I started, so I just kind of had to learn everything. And admittedly, they have made this game a lot more beginner friendly, and I think that that's a good thing. So there's a lot of resources, guides, streamers, content creators out there that know what they're doing. So I would like to think I'm one of them, but if you have any questions, feel free to ask just in case, and I'll try to do my best to point you in the right direction of what you're doing. And if you have any questions about seasons, join the Discord. I do have a channel where we have previous video guides on everything, so if you just want to watch it without having to talk to me, join the Discord, look at the channel, and you'll probably find all the relevant updated guides there, and you can just watch those at your own time. So with that said, thank you guys so much for watching. Once again, if you haven't already or you're thinking about playing BDO, check the code over there somewhere, and it'll be in the description as well. So if you're thinking about buying the game, just use my code Jonlaw. It's not case sensitive, and I get a little bit of whatever you spend. I get a little part of that, so would always appreciate it. And if you are thinking about buying pearls as well, I have a video on what are the relevant items to get for your pearls and to get the most value out of if you spend money on this game. So check that out. And yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. So I think that's it from me today. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you later. Peace.